Welcome to Northrend Gardens. Life will be hard, fights will be fierce, and you might never see home again. But at least we give you swords, shields, and plate armor. This is Hearthglen, and today Footman Wars was ported into Warcraft 3 campaign in the most literal way possible. So we'll find out, is it possible to beat Scourge of Northrend campaign with only footmen? And also some heroes, because this campaign has a few missions where we don't get any footmen or bases but still have the heroes. The rules are simple. First, the only unit I am allowed to build are footmen and workers. Fallen heroes cannot be revived. Second, workers and priests are allowed to work and heal, but do it only out of combat. Third, the only static defense allowed are the guard towers, and I can use them in defense only. Fourth, heroes can fight or travel only as a part of footman squad, if footmen are able to reach them. Fifth, all heroes should be leveled up as supports and can't buy any consumables in a goblin shop. Sixth, allies are allowed to do whatever they want. And seventh, play on hard difficulty. So, let's get to the game. The first mission of Humans campaign is very simple. I have a paladin named Arthas and 4 footmen under my control, and soon I get 2 more guys. As any normal commander, during the fights, Arthas just stands aside while footmen do all the work for him. The only use of paladin here is Devotion aura I picked at the 2nd level to make my troops more durable, and Holy Light. And here I need to make a little explanation about gameplay mechanics. In Warcraft 3, almost all units slowly regenerate their health over time, and I am absolutely allowed to go AFK after any battle and wait until my footmen will patch up themselves. But I respect our time, so Arthas is allowed to heal his troops out of combat with Holy Light. But even without his support, 6 footmen easily crushed a gang of brigands, which dropped healing rune for some reason, some gnolls, with getting defense ring as a quest reward, and some more brigands, finishing another side quest and getting some bonus health for Arthas. Then my squad marches on Strahnbrad to find it captured and pillaged. The orcs here are quite durable, but they go in some small groups of 2 or 3 units. Inside the city, Arthas gets some more footmen reinforcements, and from that moment, any enemy can be easily surrounded and overwhelmed, including the boss. In fact, the mission is so easy that even without Arthas' spells or hammer, footmen manage to do everything deathless. Blackrock and roll doesn't include much rocks, but there will definitely be a chance to roll. Actually, it's another easy mission. The base is defended by Uther, 11-10 Paladin, plus 4 upgradable towers, but Arthas still stays out of melee. In fact, the most difficult task on this mission was overcoming the temptation to go full economy and build at least some footmen to repel the first attack. But here I met the first unbeatable enemy in the challenge, a dragon Sirinox, which I need to kill for the side quest. The problem is that he flies, and unfortunately Azeroth is a feudal world where nobody invades laser pointers to arm the cannon fodder with it. Double unfortunately that all dwarven hunters who could shoot the dragon fell on the swords for 20 times in a row. By the rules, I can use guard towers or Arthas to fight air, but there is no mines or wood in the dragon horde, so it means there is nothing to defend. And Arthas is just too pacifistic and has no air attack. Orb of Fire as a reward for killing the dragon could give him ability to attack flyers, but I can't get it without ability to hit air. So I went exploring and found out that Reforged actually did something good at this mission. There are 2 extra neutral camps at the northeast and northwest sides of the map, which previously was blocked by the trees. But now I have no need to cut through the forest and can easily attack them and claim some items which are absolutely useless, because during the battles Arthas is busy giving commands to his troops. I got overcautious and kept producing footmen until I reached 80 supply. And then I was shocked how easily they broke through the orcs' garrison, overwhelmed the reinforcements, and steamrolled through their buildings, leveling the base to the ground. Even the Blade Master was more dangerous and managed to take down 6 of my units before dying. Before heading north, Arthas got another lesson from Uther, and now he is finally able not only to command during the fights, but also heal his units and protect himself. As Ravages of the Plague begin, we get 2 footmen, a captain who is just a stronger version of a footman, and 2 heroes, Arthas and Jaina. Fortunately for enemies, Jaina hates resulting the violence, and Arthas is still too busy to fight. So they stay aside during the battles, while infantry does all dirty work. Finish off the ogres who attacked Jaina in a cutscene, save a village from the raid, secures the forts by killing murlocs, and clearly demonstrate the local brigands that they become an absolute joke once the regular army arrives. Arthas is busy healing troops, but Jaina also brings some use. At the second level she joins the Brilliance Aura to increase mana regeneration, and during the whole mission keeps unused consumables in her inventory, e.g. a ton of healing potions. After encountering the first undead, we get 3 more footmen, and also gain access to their only ability, Defend, to make them get much less damage from piercing attacks in exchange for slower movement, and this ability will be useful during the assaults of the undead spaces later, but not now. The squad then secures the healing well without an issue, but after destroying the first granary, they meet the first problem of the run. Say hello to the Necromancer. He rises 2 skeletons from each corpse, and this duo has approximately the same strength as a single footman. This time there were only 2 of them, but the battle was quite long and individual footmen were close to dying a few times. After this battle, proceeding to the second granary is easy. 2 elven priests Arthas found on the way got an important task to dispel the blight behind the front line, and the mortar crew, which got a unique name for same reason. Just hit the starting point, but it can't hurt anybody. All of the skeletons they were shooting at got stuck on a ramp and were obliterated by footmen really quickly. After fighting the second granary, an abomination and some skeletons attacked the squad, but the captain heroically tanks the hits while the privates take down the monster. Path of the Damned brings Arthas and Jaina to the outskirts of Underhall, where some evil power emanates from afar. And this power affects Arthas, who strikes his first blow in his paladin's career during the intro cutscene, and shortly after ruling the town hall, his footmen executed the closest mortar crew for dealing friendly fire. From now on, after Arthas completed the quest how to auto-attack, heroes are allowed to fight, but still don't risk to use combat abilities to hit their enemies. And because Arthas is still more healer than a bruiser, and it will be too long to read the terms of the Convention for the Protection of Medical Officers to every single enemy, he just picked his third ability, Divine Shield, giving temporary invincibility. What about Jaina? Actually, she completed her auto-attack quest during the previous mission intro, and because Jaina will leave after this mission, I should give her a chance to have some fun too. And this time, necromancers attack in groups of 4 or 5, and it's quite difficult for footmen to fight them. If they focus the spellcasters, troops get a lot of damage from the escort. If they fight skeletons, necromancers take their time and summon even more of them. The most efficient tactic was surrounding the attack wave, but I can't do the same with the enemy base, so I need a big army. I took the second base, and Jaina finally sold all of the healing potion I found in the 3 previous missions to speed up my production. And finally, the footman Deathball engages the undead on their territory. Turns out, I picked a really bad time to attack. A group of necromancers was chilling on the base, and they should join an attack wave soon. So they raised the plethora of skeletons from the closest graveyard. The undead held the footmen between the buildings, spirit towers were taking down my troops even with defense mode turned on, and Arthas got stuck at the back together with Jaina. But more and more footmen arrived from the barracks to replace those who were killed. And Arthas could allow himself to sacrifice his troops. The undead was shocked of being overwhelmed by the living, and soon their base was finally ruined. A priest did a cleansing ritual, and after regrouping, the footmen continued their march. Inside the city walls, I found the source of darkness. It wasn't a Keltu that, but some ghoul locked in a cage, and he dropped some useful runes, so I'll pick it. No, everything is fine, it's just an ordinary ring giving +1 to all attributes. There is nothing to tell about the cult leader. My footmen just smashed Abomination's garrison and finished off the mage. Arthas and Jaina weren't happy to know that on the previous mission, Undead destroyed some of their buildings, while the heroes were busy creeping, and remembered about the guard towers. Cannon towers are still banned, by the way, because they can't hit air and deal friendly fire. And unfortunately there is no chance to hold out the match with Scourge without static defense. And also, at the beginning of the mission, 2 riflemen helps me to clear the first zombies, and these dwarves attacked with hit scan from 0-second mark. Unfortunately, it means that I can't beat this mission with 100% footmen, but at least I'm gonna try to do it with 99.9% footmen, cause these dwarves ruined everything. Needless to say that after such sabotage, these riflemen were quickly executed. Many people remember the defense of Hearthglen as a mission where campaign difficulty seriously ramps up, but at least it was balanced with footmen as the main melee unit in mind, but with a serious support from the mages. Reforged increased maximum supply, but at the same moment made the AI a bit smarter. Previously, all of the attack directions were scripted randomly and didn't change before the full mission restart. From now on, each of 2 AI players pick one of 2 directions, which, as he thinks, is more vulnerable, and sends an attack wave exactly there. It's not consistent, but it also means that I need to build up my defenses equally from all the sides from the very beginning. Also, guard towers now have heavy armor instead of fortified, which means that I need to cover them with a line of farms. And they cost more lumber, so I can't make more economy on woodcutters. And the undead were additionally buffed in the Frozen Throne, and these changes were applied to this mission. Thanks, Reforged. The first waves aren't dangerous, mostly because I got 3 extra footmen south from Hearthglen, and was able to make the first full control group before the enemy attack. Then the mission became even easier. My footman count grows, my fortifications are almost complete, and now towers can take down the necromancers and abominations while the footmen break meat wagons and the rest of the enemies. Meanwhile, Arthas picks a control group of footmen and goes on a side quest. Destroy the undead caravan. If I won't stop it, near the end another undead army will attack my base and I'd have no chance to hold out. At the same moment, 2 workers leave the base to claim an expansion to the north, and from that moment things are starting to get worse. First, Arthas' squad encountered the green attack wave, then the violet garrison joined to help his ally. Because of that, Arthas lost some mana to heal and had to retreat. Then his squad had to make a detour, so he loses some time and doesn't manage to intercept the caravan near the healing fountain as planned. Footmen had to fight on the enemy's terms, suffered some serious losses. The caravan was stopped, but all of the Arthas' squad now consists of himself, captain, and a couple of footmen. The rest is dead, and my paladin has no mana for his ultimate ability, Resurrection. So I had to wait, just to get a normal force for creeping. Then some sneaky undead squad leveled my expansion, and I didn't even notice that because I was busy fighting ogres. Approximately at the middle of the mission, my main base was attacked by the first Lich, and if necromancers were just a problem, Lich in this challenge run is a disaster. His Frost Nova deals a ton of area damage and slows. Frost Armor increases armor and also slows everyone attacking a unit under the spell, and Death Decay destroys buildings slowly and inevitably. The first Lich attacked me with an escort and decided to hold his ultimate ability and fight my troops. Footmen were fighting under the towers. All of the escort except for 2 meat wagons died quickly, but even in such favorable conditions, this Lich managed to take down 5 of my warriors and critically damage 7 more. Meanwhile, Arthas picked both items from the caravan dropped, including the Scroll of Town Portal, which will be needed later. Also, he found another gauntlet, encountered another green attack wave, and finally got back to the base. At that moment, 2/3 of the mission were over, and now the enemy got access to a single upgrade which turned already an easy defense into a nightmare. Disease Lamp. From now on, meat wagons and abominations hit every unit they attack with a debuff, which slowly decreases health for a really long time, until the target will have 1 HP. By the rules, I couldn't use priests to dispel it, so Arthas has to heal his footman with holy light until he ran out of mana. And then the second Lich arrived. I got lucky there. He spotted my defense line and started to cast Death and Decay on it. And that means I have some time when the Lich doesn't attack anyone else. My troops were already wounded and one Frost Nova could easily take down 5 or 6 units. I focused the Lich, ignoring his escort while the workers were selflessly repairing the towers, just to buy me a little bit more time. And then I got lucky. My towers fell a second before I took the Lich down. With 4 minutes remaining, I remembered that I didn't pick the Boots of Speed, so I went to smash some Murlocs. But fortunately, the enemy gave me some time for it before the final attack. And then, my mine collapsed, leaving me gold for just 2 more footmen. Then the final attack started. A green army led by the level 10 Lich hit me from the west, while the same violet Lich attacked me from the northwest. I ran out of money. The 32 footman army I have only seems dangerous because my units are already exhausted and the stiff breeze can take them down. And this time I can't reach the enemy hero due to abominations blocking my way. Finally a corridor opens up. The upper fortification has fallen, but that also means that from now on the enemy hero is able to cast his spells at full power. Abominations engages my troops from the south. Skeletons blocking the path, and I was afraid of each Frost Nova because it takes down 5 or 6 footmen. Arthas ran out of mana, just as the enemy hero, but he's still under the frost armor. The next Frost Nova will vaporize my army. I had to take him down as fast as possible. The western defense is cracked. The green level 10 hero goes for my army but then becomes distracted on the workers. The Lich is dead, but even more necromancers and abominations attack from the south. But without money, without half of the base, with only 6 remaining footmen and 1 exhausted paladin, I managed to hold out before Uther's arrival. Hearthglen stands. Inspired by his victories in Endorhall and Hearthglen, Arthas was filled with a philosophy of cannon fodder spam. Absolutely sure that any undead army can be overwhelmed, he commanded to initiate a quick assault on a well-fortified city of Strahnbrad, which was already captured by the undead. But his companion didn't appreciate such tactical brilliance and ordered their troops to fall back. The colony of Strahnbrad was reforged, but as Arthas said in the intro cutscene, the entire city must be purged. And it means not only to beat Mal'Ganis and slay 100 zombies before he teleports them, but also clear the whole map from the undead filth. Wizards weren't agree with my ambitions, so even a normal playthrough with footmen only turned into hell. Here we normally get access to a knight, which exceeds footmen in everything, and the mission is designed for knights as a main melee unit. But this path is not for me. So, getting rid of some fresh limit, I didn't go anywhere for the first few minutes, waiting until Mal'Ganis' arrival. And right after he spawned, I must engage him, otherwise he will get too much progress with the main objective. Mal'Ganis is a Dreadlord, a durable melee hero with only one ability dangerous for my footmen, Carrion Swarm, which attacks in an area. Mal'Ganis himself is a level or 2 higher than Arthas, but my paladin already has his ultimate ability, so all I need is to surround and eliminate the enemy. Or so I thought before the fight starts. Turns out, in Reforged, Mal'Ganis got the Dreadlord's ultimate ability, the Infernal, one of the strongest ultimates in the game. It spawns an Infernal, which has 1500 HP, chaos damage, hits like a truck, and, the most important, has a permanent immolation dealing 10 damage per second to all enemies nearby. It's a perfect weapon against footmen. One Infernal is able to destroy up to a dozen of them, and what's the worst, his lifetime is equal to ability cooldown. And I only have a paladin and 6 footmen. And while Mal'Ganis' only escort was 4 ghouls, I lost that fight between 10 and 50 times. After taking down the enemy hero, Arthas fled with his troops. There is no chance I'll fight an Infernal with such a handful of units. At least this demon didn't chase me far from his spawning point, and the mission doesn't get easier later. Dreadlord is now escorted by necromancers and abominations, but at least I have a little advantage. Mal'Ganis is able to summon Infernals once per 3 minutes, and he returns in 2 minutes after death. so if I'll focus him quickly twice in a row, I'll have to deal with only one Infernal, not two. At the same time, I had to repel the attacks on my base. The undead don't even cross Stratholm, they just teleport near my starting point and start the assault. So I had to build two lines of towers while chasing the Dreadlord inside the city, and one of these lines was luckily situated right near the enemy teleportation point. But I still need to counterattack the western direction once a mid-wagon appears. These attacks crushed my base a few times, causing the reset, but mostly important, it exhausts my troops, because I have no starting priest, and today Arthas is the only guy on healing duty, so his mana is usually close to zero. By the way, I intentionally ignored the houses, hoping to buy some time by hunting down Mal'Ganis. At the end, he is the only undead able to move the counter. This was a mistake. Turns out, after reviving, the Dreadlord teleports to a random house with an army, and if he will be ignored for a long time, he'll teleport right on Arthas' head. At least I got more troops as time goes on, but my idea of buying some time to gather more forces at some moment turned into a time loss. At some moment, I got stuck in a situation where my troops will be too few to keep Mal'Ganis at bay, and it definitely won't be enough to assault the undead base. Winning the race with the destruction of the purple base is mathematically impossible. So, I either need to give up and beat the mission normally, or consider the run as impossible, or I need to stop the race. While hunting down Mal'Ganis, I noticed that his movement is repeated around the houses. If there's a group of zombies in Stratholm and no houses nearby, he'll just ignore it. So, from now on, I need to intercept the undead attack waves, intercept the Dreadlord, and destroy every single building within the city walls and not win in the process. So I started with the big clusters. The chance Mal'Ganis will teleport there is mathematically higher, and I also need to slow him down. At the same moment, I repelled another attack and finally got my tier 3 upgrades. Turns out, the purple undead has no access to the maximum upgrades, and Mal'Ganis' escort has 0-0 for the whole mission. Their only advantage is number, except for an infernal. These upgrades slightly increased my footman damage output, but plus 3 armor combined with devotion aura significantly increased their survivability. During the race, my troops were already seriously bruised, and Arthas hasn't enough mana to heal them. And also turns out that in Reforged, 2 mini-bosses spawned from a ruined house, and beating each of them adds plus 5 to a counter. In such way, I even managed to win once, leaving the undead base behind. So I reloaded and continued the mission. After all but few houses were destroyed, I ordered my footmen to ruin the last houses and instantly run away. Meanwhile, Mal'Ganis' army already became almost unbeatable for my current forces. The undead demolished the last building and stopped. With Arthas' counter on 96 kills and Mal'Ganis' at 94, with 10 more zombies on the map, the race stopped. Now I have all time in the world, and I'm finally able to bring war into the purple base. So I built 4 more barracks near the enemy base and prepared an army for the final push. Frontal assault was a slaughter. There is just too many undead at the enemy base, and abominations and meat wagons already got their disease clouds. So I went to plan B, taking down the enemy production. And then I found out that the enemy knows how to rebuild, and I lost my army without getting any progress. So I need to change my priorities again. Now I need to take down the Black Citadel and slay all of the enemy acolytes to make sure he won't rebuild anymore. It didn't work too. My attack failed a few times due to an enormous amount of defenders, and I managed to destroy the Black Citadel twice more, but one surviving acolyte rebuilt everything in a few minutes. But then I noticed something interesting, a little peculiarity mentioned earlier. Turns out, this mission triggers worked in a certain way. Whenever any purple undead unit approaches the gates, he teleports to attack my main base in a few seconds. Not only attackers, but literally everyone who enters this zone, and if I can defeat the garrison, the answer is simple: don't fight it. So I built a few towers to protect my barracks, because this is technically my base now, and this made the AI really angry. He sent almost all of his melee units to attack them. These units were teleported to the other side of the map. Then the tower took down the remaining necromancers, my footmen made a short work of the remaining mid wagons, and I finally started my assault of a half-emptied undead base. This time, I managed not only to destroy the Black Citadel, but also leveled all of the remaining crypts and Temple of the Damned. Now the only unit the enemy can build is a mid wagon. And then, the game surprised me. Mal'Ganis, who was sitting in the corner most of the mission, arrived to defend the base. I couldn't defeat him, lost all of my footmen, and Arthas had to retreat cause he can't fight without an army. On his way back, the Dreadlord spotted a group of zombies, and now his counter shown 99 of 100 required for this victory. Fortunately then he returned to the same corner as before, and the purple undead, being unable to recover, was just sending a few mid wagons. Then Arthas destroyed the remaining slaughterhouses with a small squad, and the purple is now unable to produce at all. Shortly after, the footmen ruined the remaining spirit towers, and now the only remaining enemy is Mal'Ganis. I boldly built an expansion near the Formir undead mine, and prepared my troops for the final attack on the Dreadlord. A footman deathball descended on him, and this time even an infernal couldn't help. And while the enemy hero was chilling at his invulnerable altar, my footmen smashed the last remaining zombies and completely purged the city from the undead, and it's not even close. Now, when the streets of Stratholme are littered with footmen corpses, and Uther and Jaina are horrified of what Arthur's done, there is no more undead in Lordaeron, and the time has come to bring war into the enemy's lands, right to the shores of Northrend. After disembarking, we reached a new continent with some new inhabitants. And we start without a base, with Arthas, a captain, a priest, and 3 footmen under our control. I left the priest behind, but the remaining forces are more than enough to secure the territory and get to the Mountain King Muradin Bronzebeard. Most of the items dropped aren't particularly useful, except one. Nerubians left an Orb of Frost, which increases damage, slows the target hit by the owner of this item, and, the most important, allows to hit air. Finally, I have something to shoot flyers outside of my base. But this orb is not for Arthas. It's for Muradin, cause Holy Light can restore his HP. Muradin is a Mountain King, a stout, bulky warrior hero with a lot of powerful, mana-expensive abilities and a passive skill allowing him to stun the enemy while auto-attacking. Soon, a pack of gargoyles attack my base. Their damage against ground is pathetic, but footmen can't strike them back, and I have only one guard tower for now, so these gargoyles are a problem. But I can build more towers, and then the flyers won't be dangerous for me anymore. Just assaults from the ground. The enemy leech attacking my base from time to time is barely able to do anything against a crowd of footmen. Also, this mission gives me access to a maximum upgrades, and right after getting +3 attack, I cleared the way to a Lost Dwarven expedition, just to get rid of them after saving and claiming their buildings. The purple base, which blocked my path, was unexpectedly weak, just as the green one which I need to destroy to win the mission. Especially when I hit at the right time, not in a moment when a dozen of gargoyles were chilling inside. And I was surprised how my footmen bulldozed through the garrison, not without some losses of course. Even the Lich who leveled up during the battle was almost helpless, and I got such result without Arthas and Muradin using their abilities to hit the enemies. Actually, I was more afraid of not getting enough XP for my dwarf hero, because at the next mission I'll need him to be as strong as possible. Angered at their commander, who brought a lot of footmen to their doom during the recent assaults, Arthas' troops decided to get out of here, and the king's order seems like a good reason to do it. But Arthas strongly disagrees with such an act of desertion, and decides to scuttle the ships. Dissension is a mission that I've been dreading. The goal is to sink 5 ships, and I get Arthas and Muradin under my command to do it. Only Arthas and Muradin. There are also 2 mortar crew, but they'll need for clean an exact one area from the trees on the way to the 3rd ship. And that's all. Heroes can also recruit mercenaries, but there is no footman in the menu, so I don't need them, and the most annoying is that this mission has a time limit. I have only 15 minutes, so to get in time I need to destroy a ship every 3 minutes. This time the stakes are high, the conflict is escalating to its final phase, and from now on heroes are allowed to use their abilities for hitting the enemy. Because this is the only way to beat the mission. Literally, only Muradin's first ability can reach the ships, because my heroes can't swim. But as compensation, I leveled up the dwarf through upgrading his passive ability, Bash, to the maximum, before increasing other his abilities. I spent 4 minutes to get to the first ship, and these are really bad news for me. I reduced the gap with the second ship, now I'm only 23 seconds behind, but Muradin already lost all of his mana, which significantly decreased his combat efficiency, and then I lost some time because of hiding my mortar crews too far from the battlefield. But even then I finally keep on schedule, which means that I have only 6 minutes and a half to get rid of these last 2 boats, and there are some dangerous enemies ahead, for example the dragons. They slowed my heroes while attacking, and Muradin is the only one able to hit them, because I have only 1 orb. I used his ultimate ability Avatar to give Muradin some bonus damage, and also took down some of the dragons with a storm bolt. The next obstacle is a canyon which is filled to the brim with spirit towers. All of them are on a high ground where my heroes can't get, so Arthas and Muradin just ran through it and scuttled the 4th ship. There is only 1 remaining, and there are some serious undead forces ahead, starting from necromancers raiding a plethora of skeletons from the nearest graveyard. Fortunately, Muradin already has his thunderclap, which is really powerful against skeletons, and Arthas is able to focus the necromancers being protected by divine shield. Finally, the last group of the undead stay between me and the mission objective. There are 3 necromancers, 3 abominations and some Tier 1 stuffs, and all of them start focusing Muradin, so I had to use his ultimate ability and constantly heal the dwarf with holy light. Then the undead starting to attack my paladin. Arthas used divine shield to drop aggro, and I also had to throw him a potion from Muradin's inventory during the battle, but at the end both heroes cleaved through the undead and I have 2 more minutes remaining. The pass is opened, and now it is time to make a confession. I didn't expect Arthas and Muradin to win this fight on their own, and kept the scroll for this special case, to teleport into my base, break through the trees and sink the ship from the north. But I didn't need it, and it turns out that I carried the scroll for 3 missions in a row, like a fool, just as this ring giving +1 to all attributes. Maybe that's time to drop it and get something better.
The ring is mine.
Fine, Arthas, leave it to yourself if you want to carry it during the final mission. Seems like this thing had a really bad influence on him. Turns out it is. In the first 3 missions, before the assault on Enderhall, Arthas took care about his troops and tried to lose as few footmen as possible. But once the ring's superiority got to the same location with him, the prince started to send his troops into a meat grinder, ignoring the losses. The footmen were an expendable fodder during defense of Hearthglen. He turned the Battle of Strahnbrad into a bloodbath. A human wave under his command crushed the undead base in Northrend. And now it is time for the final mission. Today, the Mal'Ganis and his citadel will be completely and totally overwhelmed. And I don't know why Arthas wants to take a cursed blade in addition to a cursed ring, but on this quest he took Muradin and a small squad of... he took just Muradin with him. This is the first split mission in Warcraft 3, and I get a lot of troops right from the beginning, which I need to take away and free my supply. Never mind, I'm already defeated. Turns out that in this whole huge army there are only 4 footmen except for Captain, and the enemy attacks very soon after the beginning, considering that the player already has a powerful defense force. I repelled 1 attack wave with struggle, but barely managed to hold out the second, which hit simultaneously. and defense won't get easier until Arthas claims the sword. And that means that in the first few minutes I'll have to go full defense mode, ignoring the objective, but once I consider my position safe enough, it is time to go for the Frostmourne. The way to the artifact isn't different from the previous mission gameplay. The only real danger here is a group of Wendigos, which almost killed Muradin, but the Guardian was a joke. Now Arthas got a new weapon and Muradin took a nap waiting for the golden age of World of Warcraft. From that moment, the northwestern side of the map is inaccessible. Arthas got chaos damage and now he could win the mission alone, destroying the buildings on the Divine Shield. Arthas also picked the Orb of Frost to get an ability to hit air, but this is not our way to play the mission. Also, Malvinis now attacks less often, and while losing an ability to summon Infernals, the Dreadlord got something way worse: Frostworms. If Necromancers are a problem and Lich is a disaster, then Frostworm is a true calamity. They fly, they have a ton of health, they deal a lot of damage in an area, they slow down the enemies, and they also freeze the towers, preventing them from firing and turning off all of my air defense. And the towers hit by them don't prioritize focusing the Frostworms once the effect finishes. Also, it's not a boss. The enemy builds Frostworms like normal units, so they usually attack in groups of 3, making me to spend much more money for defense. And if there is even a single Frostworm at the enemy base, it becomes practically invulnerable for all my troops. Meanwhile, I scouted the area and noticed that this map has an absurd number of gold mines. One at my base, 2 almost undefended, and 1 more at the purple base. And footmen love gold. Again, I leveled the purple base once my footmen got +3 attack, took their gold mine, took 2 others, and at the same moment made a surgical strike with a footman death ball. Turns out the undead can rebuild every production building except for a boneyard, which is used to produce frostworms. It will be the highest priority target. As usual, I waited until Malgenis left his base and attacked. I destroyed the boneyard pretty quickly, then my troops ruined the Black Citadel and the Hero Altar, focusing all of the remaining acolytes in process. Arthas has no troops again and had to retreat, while Captain didn't participate in his assault at all. The enemy defense is weakened and my economy is skyrocketing, so we won't discuss it twice. When a sneaky acolyte survived and rebuilt everything in a few minutes. It never happened 5 times in a row. I built more barracks, waited for the enemy to attack my base, and started the final assault. Wave after wave, the footmen charged to the enemy fortifications. Lots of them were slain, but a continuous stream of reinforcements took their place, and finally, once the last green building was leveled to the ground, the humans were victorious in this war against the undead. It is possible to save Lordaeron with only footmen, but Arthas has one more thing to do. He didn't forget the dissension, and now he is determined to make his vengeance and create a new army which will never flee and will be ready to throw themselves into a slaughter, and it means nothing good for the living. Thanks for watching. Unfortunately, this is my first try to make a video completely in English, but at least I know where I need to get good. I see you in the Undead campaign, but that's all for now. Hierarch out.